Hello, hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is your girl Mitzi, and this is Mitzi. Let's think about it. Today we are thinking about workplace behavior. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, that is a thinker, and that is exactly what we need to be thinking about today. So, thankfully, here I have Jennifer, who's going to really help us think about this in a whole new light. Yes, just so that we can continue on thinking. So, with that being said, thank you so much, Jennifer, for coming onto my show and sharing your time and your perspective on this matter. Let's dive right in. When you think of workplace behavior, what does that necessarily make you think about?
Yeah, and I think about Mitzi, and thank you so much for inviting me on for this really important conversation. When I think about workplace behavior, it's either tonic, where it benefits us, or it's toxic. And seldom do I see it in between. And workplace, you think about the workplace where a lot of us adults spend the majority of our time. We could be spending 40, 50, 60 hours a week in this environment. And if it's toxic, I mean, we take that home with us. So that's why it's such a personal message for me to get this out there.
Oh, absolutely. And the fact that you touched on right away that we take home what
Mm,
we're going through, oh my goodness, is something that holds value and that people don't really realize, you know what I mean? People don't consider, okay, why is my husband feeling like this? Why is my wife feeling like this? Why
mhm.
is my aunt, uncle, grandma, why is anybody who I'm exposed to who has to leave the home to
Yeah.
work come home and they're worse? You know what I mean? It's because something's going on. You know what I mean? Something serious is really going on. And I also loved how you touched on the fact that you seldomly see that balance of a
Yeah.
good work environment, a healthy environment with healthy employees, with a healthy employer who's providing that safe clearance, that knowing that you're not just a number, that you hold value in my company. You know what I mean? It's so hard to find a company who actually holds that value because it's like everyone's just a number, everyone's replaceable, and it seems like they're just there employing people to just burn them out sometimes. I mean, we've heard about these burnout all the times. I mean, what does that make you think about when you hear someone's completely burned out from their job?
Yeah, two things come to mind for me. One is, people heard about, we've heard our whole lives about secondhand smoke,
Yeah.
that hurts those people around us. And what the science is showing now is that secondhand stress affects the people around us. And what I mean by that
Huh.
is when we're full of cortisol from an intense 8, 10 hour workday, we're constantly getting it, from all different angles. When we exhale that cortisol that's in our body, it produces anxiety in the people around us. It has the same effect as secondhand smoke. And I invite all the viewers to go ahead and take a look. The research is out there, as my mother would say, do the Google on it. Go ahead and take a look at the research. When I first read that, I found that to be alarming because we think that we're leaving it at the door, right? We're taking on so much in the workplace, and we think, okay, when I hit my home, I'm going to sit in the driveway, I'll do some breathing for about 5 minutes, and then I'll go in. Unless we really do start managing that stress throughout the day, our body is full of that cortisol coming home. It's kind of like I think about this, and I ask the viewers, like, have you ever been in a room and you're perfectly fine, you feel perfectly fine, and you don't know who walked in the room, but there's somebody behind you? All of a sudden, you start getting a little anxious. That's an
Mm-hmm.
example of that secondhand smoke that can affect us in our environment. So I say that's the first thing right there. Second thing that the research shows is that our direct line managers have the most impact on our environment, our experience in the workplace. Now, what I mean by that is if you're a manager on this call, one of your viewers, or if you have a good relationship with your manager in the workplace, we need to support them because that direct line supervisor or manager is going to be the one that helps us create the environment. Now, I think it's very interesting, a few things. And, when the viewers get the book and read the book is called Martyrs, Victims, and Jerks,
Yes.
Dealing with Trouble in the Workplace. And it's kind of written through the lenses of going on a safari. So when you go on safari, you look for the big five. In our habitat of the workplace, we're looking for the big three: the martyr, the victim, and the jerk. So humans are so incredibly interesting that we are the only mammals that can consciously choose to destroy our habitat.
That makes
We
sense.
do it to our planet, right? And we're
Yeah.
doing it in our workplace. So instead
Yeah.
of building up, we're tearing down. And the book
Yes.
talks about what are the intentions and motivations behind that. And that's the jerk chapter is particularly long for a reason.
Yeah. There's a lot of jerks out there, you know what I mean? And it's a stink. I mean, and you're absolutely right. And I love how you brought that up. Like, it's like this energy, you know what I mean? And that secondhand smoke, that secondhand energy just releases out naturally where we can really sense it. Like you said, when somebody walks in the room and they have a bad energy, you can feel it right away. And it's same in the workplace. If you know your boss is going to come in with a stinky attitude, you prepare yourself.
Yeah.
It's like you get into a survival mode. I mean, children
Mhm.
from abused home, they automatically know how to
Yeah.
deal with their parents because they know what to expect. Oh, they had a bad day. Let me set everything up. Let me make sure that I'm good, make sure that everything's good so that they don't take it out on me. And it's the same sense in the workplace. Like we have that same type of survival. Like I need to survive to make money, to
Yeah.
provide for my family, to provide for whatever future goals that you have. But then it's like it creates this stress within you that it leaves you feeling drained, feeling exhausted, feeling like, oh my goodness, what am I even doing? You're questioning your own sanity. I mean, mothers, oh my goodness, especially with newborns, they feel that secondhand, especially for colicky babies constantly crying. They get
Yeah.
this stress level up. Their chemical imbalance starts to go all over the place because they don't know how to handle that stress either, you know, especially if you're doing it by yourself. So it's like you can literally put that frame of mind in anything and everything that we have to do with interacting with people. So I love that you bring that up because if you really think about it, you can put that scenario in everything that we encounter. You know what I mean? So it really makes you think about like how do you necessarily handle the jerks?
Yeah, and I think it's there's so much to unpack in that, Mitzi. And the one thing that I do want to share with your viewers is that while we were evolving, if we
Yeah.
were chased by a bear, chased by a tiger, after
Yeah.
that extreme panic situation when the adrenal glands, right, they're in overload, we would go to a cave or we would go to a meadow and we would rest for a few hours. Now, we
Yeah.
don't have that luxury in today's current fast-paced world. We
Yeah.
go from, a freeway to a meeting to a parent-teacher conference. We're going from stress point to stress point without resetting our neurovegetative state. Now,
Yeah.
what does that mean? That means that we are living in a constant state of cortisol and overload, our body
Mm,
preparing for fight or flight. That
exactly.
tears the body down. So sickness comes from that dis-ease, and dis-ease comes from lack of ease, dis-ease. And we hear all of these and we see the bumper stickers, for manage your stress. It really is life or death managing our stress. So I do share that. Now, when it comes to the jerks, and I'm going to give a spoiler alert, Mitzi, the martyrs and the victims can be just as draining as the jerks. But we'll start with the jerks. So the jerks,
Yeah.
it's proactive and then it's responsive. And what I mean, proactive. If you've got a jerk that you're currently dealing with, I want you to start consider how can you start drawing boundaries in your life. You got a manager that's calling you 8 o'clock at night. How do we start retraining people how to treat us? You don't need to prove your worth anymore. And that's the research in the book shows that when we are constantly letting these jerks walk over our boundaries, keep pushing for more, it's because we actually question our own self-worth and
Yes.
having to prove ourselves. So I say the first thing is take it, and I call it a radical gut check. Really sit with yourself and say, why am I bending over backwards to please this jerk? Why am I not laying down strong boundaries and really reinforcing them? Let's talk
Absolutely.
about a three-step process here. I think the first is awareness. So have, just all of you, please consider who in your life is stepping over boundaries and why. Do they even know that the boundaries are there or all those boundaries in your head? Telepathy is not the best form of communication. So I would say it
Right?
starts with awareness. Who in
Yeah.
your life is
Yes.
really making your life uncomfortable? And
Absolutely.
I put a name down with that. Okay, so this is their name. And then I would say, what are they doing that is uncomfortable or triggering? And then the third thing is, what do I have in my sphere of control to start managing these jerk behaviors? And I'm telling you, I've seen it again. I've worked with so many organizations, so many individuals, my own niece, to create boundaries and reinforce them because something that, many of our viewers may have not heard enough as children is you are worth it. Your habitat is sacred and valuable. And think about, I just think about this, Mitzi, that I see certain people in the workplace that are peers to others, yet the same manager would never step over their boundary. So what did they do? Right? So the
Exactly.
manager has learned, oh, I can't push them, but I can push this other person.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yes.
Exactly.
I saw
Because
you like this, so hitting the right on the
yeah,
nose there.
exactly. You are hitting it on the nose because it comes down to our values, our morals, our self-respect. And
Yes.
when you have that self-awareness, then you are aware of your surroundings, you're aware of what's around your body, and you're aware of what you will and will not tolerate. So it comes down to do you have self-respect? And if you
Yes.
don't, then we need to work on that. You know what I mean? And if you have and then we need to ask ourselves, where is your self awareness leading you? Where is your eyes focusing? What is catching your eyes? What are you allowing to be acceptable and not acceptable? Because, like you said, we need to have those boundaries from a very beginning. Because from the very beginning, we were always taught do what you're told. And that's it. Don't ask no questions. Just do
Yes.
what you're told. If I'm an adult, then you're going to listen to me. Or if I'm older
Yes.
than you, you're going to listen to me. Or if I'm your superior, you're going to listen to me. But at the same time, you have to listen to yourself. And that's something that nobody was ever taught. You know what I mean? I had to learn that as well. You know how many times I've been sexually abused at jobs because men felt like it was okay to get so close or touch me a certain way. I had to put my foot down. And I even quit jobs because of I couldn't tolerate it anymore. And
Mm.
people need to have that understanding that you need to make a stand. What do you stand for? Do you stand for yourself?
Yeah.
Because you only have yourself. Everybody else is irrelevant because if you find a cave, you find a closet, you find your room, you find a space to have your own sense, to be aware
Yeah.
with yourself, what happens? You cry because you are hurt at the fact that you allowed this to happen. And or it happened to you without your sense of control, because certain things just happen without you even, it just happened so fast, like, oh my goodness, I didn't even realize this happened, you know what I mean? And when you have that moment for just reflection, it truly makes you realize that you are important no
Yeah.
matter who you are. If you have a heartbeat, male or female, if you have a heartbeat and you are breathing and you are thinking, then you matter as an individual. And to put your boundaries up is so crucial in every workplace. Like, I support my husband when he wants to quit a job because they are not respecting his boundaries, and they're not respecting him as a human being, and they don't see the value that he's bringing to a company. I'm like, quit it, find another one. If they see you as replaceable, then you can see them as replaceable too, because you deserve to find a company that sees value in your worth and your work ethics. And the thing is that people don't see that they have good work ethics. So they think that, oh, I'm just here for the paycheck. Like, no, 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 sweetie. It's not just a paycheck, because you can find a paycheck anywhere.
Yeah.
Nowadays, you can really make money any type of way now, really. So it comes down to, where do you find those values, and letting somebody know, I need some space. I need I need to know in advance before you ask me to do overtime. I need to know that after 7 p.m. you're not going to call me because it's time for my family. Don't expect me to check emails. Don't expect me to do this. You
Yeah.
need to be honest with what's going on and what you accept and what you don't accept. Voice it in, because if they don't receive it, that means that place is not for you. So I believe that 110% in what you're saying, because I stand by that with my husband as well, because I don't think anybody needs to be treated with that type of disrespect, with that type of inferiority. Like, how dare you? You know what I mean? Like, how dare you
Yeah.
make me feel little or feel less than what I am when I'm already great? You know what I mean? I'm doing you a favor by being here. You know what I mean? I'm doing you a
Yeah.
favor by showing up and giving you my all. So it's like, employers need to recognize, like, you can't just hire somebody just because you know them, because at the end of the day, you don't really know them, because you don't know if their work ethics is as good as their friendship. You know what I mean? And sometimes people would just hire people, oh, because we're friends, oh, we know each other. But no, where's that work value? Where's that work ethics? And I feel like work ethics have really gone down the drain. I mean, for you, what does work ethics make you think about?
Yeah, it's kind of like one of those blur terms. It depends on who you ask. For me, work ethics means I'm going to follow through with what I say. I'm going to set proper expectations, and I'm going to be held accountable. For me, that's work ethics right there. It's not
Yeah.
just showing up. It's saying, hey, if I commit to being here, if you get to have my time, I'm going to be here wholeheartedly. And Mitzi, something you just said, I thought about in our current day and age, our attention is our currency, right? That's why we say to pay attention.
Yeah.
So our attention is what we bring. the workplace. That's our, mutual exchange for currency. And when you said, we can get a paycheck so many different places, absolutely. And I know it's challenging, particularly folks that have come to me and said, "Hey, I'm in a small town. There's very few jobs. How much do I need to tolerate?"
Yeah.
And
Ooh,
I
that's a hard
say,
one.
you know what? You determine what your limits are. And sometimes, and I've worked with so many people that have said, I have to have this job for so many reasons. I said, the number one priority is self-preservation. During this path, what will you not allow? What's a non-negotiable? And how will you tolerate or not tolerate? Let me take that back, Mitzi. What will you do internally to develop
Mm.
self-preservation techniques so that
Yeah.
you don't burn out? So that, particularly if you are a single parent, you have something to bring home to your children at the end of the day. With so many
Yeah.
individuals, I worked with one woman who worked at a utility company, and she was the go-to person. She was a kind-hearted person who learned to be a people pleaser. So she was taking on more and more. So her family was getting less and less.
Nice.
And when
Yeah.
I worked with her, we wrote down simple statements like this. When someone asked her for a favor or just do this one time, that's not going to be possible.
Mhm.
That's not going to be possible. I worked together to develop a tone of confidence in her when she said, that tone is not going to work for me. This
Mm.
language is not going to work for me going forward.
Yes.
So really, that's one way right there to boundaries. Really determine like how can I show up with confidence in my words and voice? And I'm saying the fewer the words, the better. No is the strongest sentence you can say. So if
Absolutely.
you are in an environment and you do need that paycheck, and I get it, there's places where there's not a lot of jobs around. You determine internally, how am I going to manage this while I'm focused on a longer term picture?
Hmm.
So kind of like
Hmm.
living both like you're like a dweller on the threshold, right? You're managing in the day while you got your eye on a future vision.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. It really does come down to that. And it really does because people don't really think about how just someone's tone can really affect them. You know what I
Mm,
mean? Oh my goodness. Because I truly believe you can say anything to anyone, but your tone can totally ruin it. Your
yeah,
tone can save you. Your tone can build up the
yeah,
relationship, the friendship, whatever the situation may be. It all really does depend on the tone because you can say the nicest words to somebody, but if your tone is harsh and nasty, they're gonna pick that up and they're gonna be like, wait a second. That doesn't add up. Something's not adding up.
yeah.
You know
And
what
our
I mean?
subconscious perceives that. You know that, Mitzi? Our
Exactly.
subconscious, because our brain is always looking for is something congruent. If something
Yeah.
is congruent or in alignment, subconsciously I start to trust you. If
Yeah.
it's out of congruency or out of alignment, my brain goes, hey, wait a minute, am I safe here? I'll give you an example. So, Mitzi, there are some really big things we want to talk about, some small changes. When you see those gestures not match the words, your subconscious is going, hey, wait a minute.
Yeah.
So when you hear someone say, oh, I'll give you an example, and I played a game with this with some of my friends. We use the two words, thank you. And I'll play with you, Mitzi. So the two words, thank you. How can you say that in a way that has such a condescending tone? Give it to us, Mitzi.
Thanks. Or just saying thanks.
Oh,
We're
you
like,
don't
yeah.
even, not even
We're like,
about you. Thanks. Oh, I felt
yeah.
that. Even
Mm-hmm.
words just like thank you or the word seriously.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Seriously. Seriously, like goodness. I mean, like just the
Yes.
you know what I mean?
Yes.
It really does. It really does. Because sometimes my husband be catching me when I'm mad and I have to catch myself, I have to catch my tone. Like, because I could say the right words, but sometimes that tone can really reveal that I'm actually upset. So then I have to like take a breath and like come
Mm,
about it correctly and then be like, you know what, it has nothing to do with you, it has to do with me. And that's the thing that people don't realize. Like a lot of the times we are just dealing with a lot of things internally and we
yeah.
project it out in a way that it doesn't even mean to even hurt somebody, but it still does. So we really have to value what we say and how we project out and how we embody ourselves and how we project out ourselves to people, because in the workplace it holds so much weight. It holds so much weight because literally your workplace becomes another home. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Becomes another family because you're with them a good amount of your time during your day and during your life. You know what I mean? And even if for a small town, like that literally becomes your everything. You know what I mean? So it's just
Yeah.
like we really have to take into consideration our tone, our words, our energy, our direction in life. You know what I mean? Our boundaries, our self-respect, our self-awareness. You know what I mean?
Yes.
All of these things really adds up, and it sucks because time is catching up to us, Jennifer.
I
Time is
know. I
catching
know.
up to us, and I feel like we can keep diving into this in different areas and angles,
Yes.
and I'm like, oh my God. But what can be some lasting words of wisdom that you can leave us off with to keep on thinking?
Yeah, Mitzi, and the time has gone so fast. You're so right. In this book, there's an entire section in the back, and I've seen this work for hundreds of folks. It's called a perception management plan. So it's deliberately managing how you're being perceived by others. So I walk you step by step, and I've seen it work countless times. You know what? Even if someone is 9 years old, they can develop a perception management plan, and it's basically what are three words? What are three adjectives? How you want to be described? Friendly, competent, knowledgeable. Or, oh, confident comes up a lot too. Confident, knowledgeable, approachable. Determine what three words you want. How do you want to describe yourself? You develop a perception management plan so that what you say, what you do, aligns directly to those words. So if I say, I want to be perceived as confident, I walk into a room like this. Or if you're like, in school, like, and you're given a book report and my book report is on, no, you're not going to be perceived as confident. So Mitzi, my big takeaway is you determine how you want to be perceived. You build a plan and everything in that plan. I mean, you get so disciplined that everything in that plan aligns to how you want to be perceived. And just for those of you out there, Martyrs, Victims, Jerks, it's available on Amazon, Kindle, and then you can always direct message me. I have a Instagram, and you can DM me. The Instagram is no underscore more underscore MVJ. So no more MVJ with the underscores. And a lot of folks are passing tips around. I don't know if you're 8 years old or if you're 78 with your family or in the workplace. We get to decide how we show up in the world. So show up how you determine, deliberately manage how you're showing up, right? No more. If you were taught to be a people pleaser, do not be a pushover as an adult. As long as we have breath in our lungs, we can make a difference. And I've seen this plan work on folks where in the beginning I was like, oh, wow, okay, we got a path ahead of us. And I've seen lives change because of this deliberate perception management plan, Mitzi. So that was a really long response, and I'm so passionate about the changes I've seen in humans throughout my travels.
Oh, I love it. And the fact that you've seen the changes, it just shows that it holds value for everybody and change is possible. Like, so if you see your environment and you no longer want it to be like this anymore, then do this change. Work on it. And ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoyed this conversation, because how could you not? Oh my goodness, how could you not enjoy this conversation? Please go check her out. I have the link to her Instagram, link to her book on this description in audio on the YouTube, or if you're on my website, just click on her photo and it goes directly to her book so that you can continue on thinking. This is great information, great content, just so that we can sit with our thoughts, just so that we can have that moment of silence in the morning or at the end of the day when we sit and reflect. This is a great time to reflect. Reflect on your awareness, reflect on what's happening around you, reflect on your boundaries, where you need to step up your boundaries for certain people or even with yourself. Be
Yeah,
disciplined. That self discipline
yeah.
truly, truly does a big difference because it shows that you love yourself. And isn't that what it comes down to? Self love. Love yourself in a way that you actually feel it. Love yourself in a way that other people know that you love yourself. Why? Because it teaches them how to love you. It teaches them how to deal with you. It teaches them how to respect you. And it teaches them how to manage you in a way that you will realize, you know what? I like the way this is changing.
Yeah.
I like the way that my world is becoming because it's the way that you're standing up for yourself. So please, ladies and gentlemen, check it out. So that you can continue on thinking because isn't that the point? Yes, to keep on thinking, ladies and gentlemen. With that being said, bye.